feel bad observing something off stage, and then when you go on stage, like if you're doing like the ticketing in the front, and you just notice something, and then waiting to get on stage and be like, "Hey, remember when you were coming in? You were acting like a fucking idiot." I always feel bad doing that, but I think it's so funny.
I love that.
To be like, you thought you were safe because you didn't know I was coming up here.
Yeah, you had no idea you were gonna have to deal with me in front of everybody.
Yeah. And you just came and asked me for a cup of ice, and I know you just put booze in it, and I'm just letting everybody else know that you're broke, and it's funny.
But also clearly an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. If you carry
Honestly,
your own booze around, you're an alcoholic, bud.
Sometimes that
lady started at 11 a.m.
Yeah, when I can't afford alcohol, I just don't drink it.
Yeah.
I don't bring it.
Yeah.
That's how I know I really am a weed addict, is if I don't have weed for multiple days, what I will do is I'll just, hang out with a friend that I would hang out with, but there will be like a special hangout sesh where I'm like, are you around today at your apartment to smoke weed with me?
Right now?
Yeah.
Right now when I need weed?
Couple bong hits.
Yeah. And that's always, you just feel like such a fiend. You're like, do you want to like play Grand Theft Auto together? He's like, why would we do that? You're like, we need an activity to do while I smoke your weed. That's what we need.
Yeah.
And
Otherwise, I feel guilty.
Yeah.
I feel guilty inside.
Yeah.
Because I'm using you, so I need us to like.
I have a successful friend. It's the worst.
I need for me to not feel like I'm using you.
Yeah. I don't care what you think,
That's
really.
such a fucked
You can
up-
know it.
Yeah. That's
You're gonna know it. I'm not hiding it.
Yeah. I literally just said it to you.
That's Mark Maron shit. To be like, not only am I being selfish, but even in my way that I feel bad about being selfish, it's also selfish.
Yeah,
It's just
exactly.
everything is about me. Yeah, that's the big. That is a type of anxiety that I do have that I have to work on. It was good when I moved to Austin because I feel like that type of behavior didn't mix as well as it in Boston. Like a lot of people are like that. Here, everyone's having good vibes, and if you come at them like this weird like sheepishness, a lot of people are just like, "Why are you acting like this?"
Yeah, they find it off-putting.
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah, they're like, what are you trying to hide? Why are you being weird?
Like, are you trying to get something from me? Oh, I think my mic just went out.
I think. Go ahead.
Hello? Oh, now it's back.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it went on my head.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, they just want to know sort of, yeah, it's just a different rhythm out here. A lot more like good, like hippie. Like, I don't know. It's sort of a mix.
Yeah.
I assume LA's even more.
Yeah,
that
Austin
way.
being like Texas hippies, it's a very, very interesting mix of ideals.
Yeah, Austin is where the hippies meet the rednecks. That's kind of the culture clash that's going on here. That's why you have all those like Nether Hour type bands where it's like a honky tonk, but a fucking like psychedelic honky tonk a little bit.
But it's like it makes sense why I like this place because I identify very much with
both.
with parts of both of those things.
Yeah.
I could never be fully either one, but like a little bit of this and a little bit of that,
Yeah.
I like.
It's like if a city was a Billy Strings concert.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I like weed and guns.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
exactly.
Like, they're both fun.
Yeah, and a little bit of moonshine every now and again.
Exactly.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. I might vote red. Who knows? I don't know. We'll figure it out.
I've never voted ever, much to the chagrin of all the women in my life.
Well, they'll get over it. It's not like
Yeah.
any of those one votes would have made a difference. Hillary lost by a lot, so.
I know, but women, they're empathetic creatures. So when they know that the reason I'm not voting is, you know what I mean? Like,
Is apathy?
they're not wrong to not. It's not night. Like my mom's like, just register to vote.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
you don't have
you're
to
like
be
this isn't
gung-ho.
a political statement. I am being lazy. like it
Once
is that
again,
simple.
yeah.
Yeah, and like
Which Paul seems like he's full of that, of just not political statements, just sheer laziness.
well sometimes
But that could very easily be misinterpreted as political. Like,
And
like
often
people are
is.
like, man, this guy's got a lot of things that he believes strongly, and you're like, I took a nap for 14 hours today, and that's what I believe in.
on stage sometimes that is, like I'll make a joke that punchline is, me getting fucked in the ass, and then I'm sure some of it has to do with my
fucking great thing.
voice or my general aura or whatever, but I can always tell that it's like there's certain people in the audience who are like, okay, it's a gay,
thought- okay, I
it's a
thought
gay
so.
comedian, and
I
they're gonna
got
like,
it.
I'm like, no, I'm not even gay, and it's like the next joke is mean to women, and they're like, he's an edgy Northeast mean to women comedian. I'm like, it's really gonna change a lot. So if you're gonna do, I heard Mark Norman talk about it, where he sees that people are like trying to figure out where he is, and he's like, I'm the same way. It's like, dude, all I know how to do is like throw so much shit against the wall, and then when some of it works, if I like it, that's why I'm trying to get more targeted. I'm trying to get more story. Actually, like I'm talking a lot about my Adderall days and stuff like that on stage now.
Good.
I'm trying to. I'm writing this.
Talk
joke.
about what you know. And if that's like a demon for you and shit, then yeah, sometimes you got to work that out. That's the stuff that's the funniest on stage is the shit that kind of hurts to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the stuff that you can't stop the real emotion from coming out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think there's less.
You never
shame.
dull yourself. You never get like numb to that joke because it's true to you. It's so part of your essence.
Yeah.
You can't help but deliver it like a fucking pro because that's how you feel about it legitimately.
Yeah, and now that I haven't been doing it, there's just less of like a shame associated with like, cause dude, it got really crazy and dark. So like now I can talk about it on like much like Joey Diaz. I feel like once he was past the cocaine thing, then he's like, oh, I can talk about this wild shit. Nothing, I didn't do anything as wild as that, but it's just freeing to be like,
in a very healthy way, it allows you to disassociate with that existence. And kind of see it as like almost not you. It's like that was that guy.
Which an entire decade of my, 20 to 30. I mean, there's probably like off periods, but not a lot. You know? It's very wild to think about. But also, like, I know a lot of people that struggle with stimulants that didn't really come out the other side as like salient or as like. It fucks really hard with some people, especially when you're mixing it with like acid and shit like that. I had a friend from back at home.
Oh, they get spun for life.
Yeah, because it's
not
like
just for 8 hours.
Yeah,
because
you're staying up. Yeah, because you're staying up and then you're mixing it with other shit. So just grateful that I always sort of kept it in the weed Adderall.
And you're also like on Adderall and acid listening to Alex Jones. That's not going to do your psyche any favors, bud. It's going to fuck you up.
I'm just sitting in a room like writing stupid jokes. So yeah.
My penis goes.
But it's it feels good, and I have a feeling like I have a feeling a lot of people, when I started to make the decision to try to stop, it felt like everywhere on YouTube I would just see a lot of people talking about struggling with it. I can't imagine what a smart kid who actually is in school or something, the level of pressure to having to do it. Like, I'm just a stupid fucking fuck up stand-up comedian trying to get ahead, and I felt like a pressure to write or a pressure to take it.
Yeah, see though, I would argue honestly, for people with our personality type, self-induced stress is way more powerful.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Like
no, it's all put on myself. Everything is so stupid.
But that's the thing. Like, but also, that's what drives us.
Yep.
That's why people like us find success when we do. It's because we're 100%. And sometimes out of like very negative emotions, guilt, or you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to be a loser and a piece of shit, but like, you push yourself with that negative feeling into the success that makes you stop feeling it.
Yeah. And sometimes it feels like you purposefully, and it might be subconscious or might be conscious, but sometimes you put yourself in a position so that you can
fuck up so
it.
that you have to fix it. Yeah, absolutely. Without it ever being purposeful or needing to be purposeful. Like, your brain knows the cycle. It's like, I know what I need.
Yep.
I need to fall on my face so I can get back up again.
Yeah. We're already recording? Has this been?
Probably.
Wow.
Welcome to the Stoney Baloney podcast.
That's the best way to start a podcast, is just to
cold start?
I think so.
Yeah, just having a conversation.
Yeah. I'm going to try to get better at them. They're a tough medium.
Doing great.
They're a tough medium.
Why? It's just trying to remain natural with the normal conversation that we would have in the back of Creek, but there's cameras on us, so we're fighting that instinct of like there's an audience, and turning on the like performance self rather than just having a conversation with Paul and Gabe.
Yeah.
It's a weird, dude. I watch these episodes every week to make timestamps. Some episodes I'm like, man, I was fucking on point that episode. Other ones I'm like, God, I was overdoing it. I hate that. I hate that guy.
Mm-hmm.
That's good though. My speech and stuff on stage, I'm trying to address less uhs, less ands. Like, I'm dating a woman now who has a master's.
You're dating a woman now?
Yeah.
Fucking give it up for him, guys. Give it up for him.
Ooh, Paul. Yeah.
She has a master's in theater. She taught theater. She can recite Romeo and Juliet. She can recite all Shakespeare like by heart.
Nice.
So the idea of being like you can get all that out of your speech patterns, and it does a lot for charisma on stage.
You just got to slow down.
Yeah.
It's literally just slowing down and letting it come to you and being present and paying attention to what you're saying as you're saying it.
Yeah.
Because you can stop and take that pause. The thing about, I don't know what your upbringing was like, But for people like Gabe and I, it can probably be difficult sometimes because you're so used to being yelled at and talked over and just not being right, you know? So that will cause your speech patterns to be more sped up because you're like, I got to get this information out before somebody talks over me. Unlearning that is so powerful for comedy because you realize that it's just you on stage and you can almost stop and take a breath in the middle of a sentence and keep it pushing. Like nobody's going to interrupt you.
It's learning that like the mic is yours.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like this moment is your moment to do it because there's definitely a part, especially in the beginning, where the nervousness of like not wanting to fail, like not wanting the thing you just said to not be funny, naturally your brain is like, well, if I start saying the next thing, then there's not a time for them to not laugh. You know what I'm saying? As a subconscious like defense mechanism, you will just like keep saying things so there's not enough time for there to be an awkward pause. And yeah, unlearning that. But also like, I mean, as you get better, the moments where you have to, you know, wait a second for laughter, like those come. And so it just kind of teaches you naturally as you improve to just like take those moments of pause, you know? Like if you've ever talked over a laugh and cut it in half and that feeling of like, oh no, I
could have sat on that for a minute. I could have milked it.
My next joke would have hit harder if I'd have shut the fuck up for a second. That is a tough lesson to learn, but when you learn that, that's fucking gold.
Because sometimes people are still laughing as you're starting to tell the joke, and they're not able to process the first couple statements of the joke because they're still thinking about the last thing that you said. And so you got to really let all those laughs get all the way out. Sit on it until that last one squeaks.
Yep. Which is also fun because sometimes the person that laughs last is the one with the weird fucking laugh. And then you get that funny moment at the end of it, and then you get to, you know, play off of that energy again. Yeah.
Yeah, I go way too. I mean, I slowed down a lot. I'm a little frantic sometimes. Sometimes it works. You know
I think
what I mean?
that comes with the amount of stage time that a lot of us are getting at open mics and stuff. It's very limited stage time, so we're frantically trying to squeeze as much as we can into 5 minutes.
I feel like the mothership mic, that's something I got to stop doing when I go there.
That's how I felt today too, yeah.
Yeah, I write short jokes, but if I did my best jokes, I could do like 4 of them. And with waiting for the pause and laughter and stuff, it would probably seem almost insane how few words. And that's how I should be showing how good I am, is like how few words can I say on stage in a 3-minute set and still have an amazing set. That's sort of my writing style or whatever. So that's when I went down there today, that's what was my mindset approaching signing up today, and what my mindset will be for Kill Tony. I think my old mindset, which was good for the time, was I'll show them that I write jokes. And now it's almost like, okay, I feel like I can establish that I write jokes even to an audience that doesn't know me.
Show them that I know how to perform.
Yeah, and know how good some of them are compared to others. Like if I can only do 7 of them but go really slow, and if they're all like A, then why would I give you guys a bunch of just ones that get giggles? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Dimitri Martin doesn't do a lot of like giggles jokes. Every joke is so funny. So I just watched this new special. It's so good. I highly recommend it to anybody.
How new?
From April to 2024.
And it's been a while between that one and the one he put out.
I feel like it. It looks a little older. Yeah.
I was gonna say it's been like 5 or 7 years. It's been a long time.
That's what I was thinking too. Like
because he was. I feel like he did like 3 or 4 of them in pretty rapid succession, and then I haven't seen anything from him in a while.
Yeah, he had 2 that I really like. They're on Spotify, and then I don't know what else besides that. Really, besides like a Comedy Central thing here and there. But he's one of my favorites.
Martin's not somebody that you can like listen to his albums. He's really a visual comedian.
You'd be really surprised.
Really?
Yeah, like the jokes are almost so good they still hold up without. Even the ones that have visual elements, some of them are still so good. Like some of the Easel stuff is on the audio album, not all of it, and it's still good. He's like he's one of my favorites. He's a weirdo, but
he's like, very weird. Yeah, I like that.
But I love that.
But also, that watching him, I remember watching him when I was younger, and that was a first like that was a realization moment for me that like you can be that weird and still like mainstream successful. You know what I'm saying? Like he's a very good example of somebody who just found what he is and what he does and let the audience come to him.
Yeah, and he's just very, I want to be more observational. We're going really deep on this, but
Sometimes.
You know, like there's a difference between a one-liner, even one that's really funny, and then one that actually observes and like, you know, questions something. Like Dimitri has a lot of jokes that will like question, why is this phrase true or whatever, that doesn't make sense, rather than just like making fun of the phrase in general.
Instead
like,
of just like, yeah, this is the thing we all say. It's like, why?
yeah, that why do we say that? That doesn't make sense that you'd say it or whatever, which is like a key difference when you're trying to do one-liners. Is like the way Mark Norman does his analogies is always like defend his own behavior. He's like, oh, why can't I do this? What about these people that do this? So I've been like thinking a lot about like
how you frame it.
Yeah, and like what is my motivation for these jokes, even if they're stupid? You know what I mean? Like what am I trying to convince people of, or what am I trying to poke holes in, or whatever? I think that's like a next level.
I think that gets muddy sometimes because I've tried to be like that too with my jokes. Like I'm trying to fucking make a point, and the more that I've gotten to the mindset of I don't want to make a point, I just want to make what's funny.
Yeah.
The better I've gotten. I think Denver really taught me that too, because it just made me reshape some of my jokes so that I'm telling them in a way that's like, it's not what I think. I'm not trying to convince you of my opinion and like win your, you know, affection. Like, hey, have you ever noticed that? You know what I mean? As opposed to this is, because sometimes things get to where it feels like the audience has to pick a side.
Yeah, taking the element of it where the audience has to already agree with you to think it's funny.
Right, yeah.
Like whether or not, it doesn't matter if you feel the way I feel. I want to present this thought in a way that it's funny no matter what. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes too, it's like, and maybe it's not even my own thought. Maybe it's just like arguing against something that seems so wild that no audience would ever be on your side. But if you just write a funny enough joke about it, and like you point out this obvious truth that everyone's been missing. You know, those are I have not really written a lot of jokes like this that I'm describing, but that's now as I'm approaching joke writing.
You're like as of today, that's my new goal.
For the last few weeks, either been personal, like actual anecdotes, or just trying to like say something to an audience like Bill Burr does, where it's like, I think hitting women's okay, and then everyone goes, no, it's not, and you're like, well, actually, let me show you why.
Let me prove it with comedy,
which is crazy. It is crazy hard.
It is.
But I think that's what's so cool about doing it is I don't think anyone, any motivation short of like my motivation is to steal and be a hack to get successful. I don't think anyone's doing it wrong. Like, which is why I think it's very, very cool. Like that helps me a lot with any type of bitterness, is just being like, first off, I can never do what anyone else does. Even like people that are similar to me. Like I don't think I could do what they do. And then just being like, and there's just no wrong way at all.
Yeah, as long as what you're doing is authentic and genuinely you're doing things that you think are funny.
Yeah.
Then I don't think you can go wrong.
Yeah, but lately I've just wanted to design like a Rube Goldberg machine of jokes where it's like just bringing up stuff and then trying to like get the audience on one side or another, just to do it as a science experiment. Because you do have people in front of you, and it's fun to be like, you know, I do a lot of suicide jokes, so I guess like the initial attraction of those was it makes people weird and they laugh or whatever.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it works well enough, and like other times it doesn't. But it's so funny to just introduce it to a room, and
just as a topic, as an idea to just be like, this is what we're talking about
and
now.
like see the way. I mean, I've done them in front of tens of thousands of people at this point. I've literally been doing suicide jokes since I started doing stand-up, just to see how every different type of person reacts. Some people come up to me after, and they're like, "I appreciate it so much that you're talking about it." And I have to tell them like, I'm not even like, I'm good. These are just jokes or whatever. And like,
this isn't like a suicide
Listen, you might want to kill yourself. I just want to tell jokes.
I'm like here to talk to anybody else about it, because every minute you talk to me about it is increasing your chances of doing it for sure.
Yeah, now we both want you to kill yourself, and that's not, we haven't.
But now I want to start doing that. You know, that I love comedy like that. I just never been able to do it. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of comedians who can really just split a room and then bring them back together and then do it again and then bring them back together, and it's just insane.
Yeah, it's a beautiful trick.
I also love Brian Regan, who is like, I just want to release a product that people from 13 to 70 can enjoy, and it's like just really great. So I don't know, figuring out. I'd like to get paid too, more money to do it. So Got a lot of goals.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. That's inspiring.
Yeah.
I'm making that a goal now too. Thanks, Paul.
Yeah.
Bring out the vision board, Tony.
So you guys are supposed to tell stories on this?
What? You tell stories.
You tell a story. You tell us a story.
Okay, a couple quick things.
Yeah.
How far distance are you from?
Not having taken it?
Uh-huh.
I'd say like 4 months,
Okay.
5 months.
And when would you say is the worst that it was?
Oh, like
Close to the end, or did you have like a crest?
it was always
question.
cresting waves. I definitely it felt bad when I was here, but I feel like it was worse when I was younger, but I just didn't have any like frame of reference for how
Yeah, and also just like a young body and mind can just run so much through it that it doesn't really feel like it's as big of a deal.
Yeah.
And then you get to be 32 and you're like, what did I do to myself?
Yeah, you feel it all.
Yeah, and
When I was thinking about my story today, I was like, God, I can't believe I used to do that. What the fuck is wrong with me? But you're right. When you're young, you can process it better. It's like my relationship with weed has become much different than when I was, 23, 22.
And even and again, that's even something that I constantly am adjusting because I'm like I don't like some mornings I wake up and I'm like I can't fucking breathe this morning. I can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
I can't smoke just like one after another till 4 a.m. Like if I'm gonna stay up that late and not get good sleep, I can't be just like inhaling smoke the whole time. It's just like that's.
Then you give yourself weed hangovers.
Fuck.
Those exist.
Yeah,
and you wake up all fucking groggy
Yeah,
and
just
stoned.
foggy headed. Yeah, that's terrible.
And it takes a while to get over it too.
I can't smoke in my house because I'm living with my friend's house and his fiance and renting a room. So they just, even with the vape, they want me to go outside, which is fine. It's a beautiful house. But it helps me a lot.
Having a
boundary.
boundary.
Oh yeah.
Because then, like, if she's working from home, like, just, I'm a 32-year-old man. Walking by her 8, 9, 10, 11 times a day is like, I know, I'm a fucking loser. That's what I was going to say about Adderall. When I was playing Counter-Strike and Smash Brothers, trying to become pros in those games.
Did you?
Smash, I made some money. I was ranked when I was like 19, 4th in New England.
Okay.
For Super Smash Brothers Brawl. I was okay at it. I mean, I can beat down literally anybody listening to this podcast. I'll play you for $100. Best of 3 in Smash Ultimate. I could beat anybody. But
that wasn't even cockiness. That was just like mathematically speaking. I know where I rank in the world.
I would kind of
and the odds that I'm going to run into the 12 people that can beat me are very slim.
Well, just like I would almost know you already if you're so good at Smash Ultimate. I would be familiar.
That's also fair. You're like, I've never seen you on the leaderboards. So I don't know who you are.
Yeah.
Such a weird flex, but I respect it.
Yeah.
Dude, my buddies Abdul and Muhammad in high school, they were Smash Bro superstars.
Did you go to
bro.
high school in Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, sure did.
Yes.
Yep.
That's awesome to have. I wish I had to. My buddies were fucking. Actually, I had Pedro. I had a lot of Brazilians in my. So sorry, what were you saying? I just love the fact that your two friends were both Abdul and Muhammad. I got really distracted by.
No, it was just two friends from our friend group, and every time that we would have Super Smash Bro like hangouts and parties, they were always the ones. There was just always them facing each other. They were so fucking good at it.
Yeah, they eliminated everybody else immediately, and then you just watched them.
Sunni and Shiite, probably. So
for sure.
An
Let's
eternal
hope.
war between them.
Yes. Yeah. Those battles meant something.
Yeah.
Oh, they were brothers. So even more.
Wow.
Yeah.
They probably spent hours playing it together against you. They used to play as Kirby, and they would fuck people up with Kirby.
But that's like being a superstar at Eddie Gordo. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, okay.
My brother punched me in the face over Madden 04 when we were kids because I was.
That's amazing.
I would use Michael Vick.
That's fair. That's
Michael
punchable.
Vick was a cheat code,
That is
dude.
literally cheating.
I don't
Yeah.
think
When he was on the cover, he was he was like the first. He was a 94 speed. And that
he's 99 speed.
Was it? That was
He
unprecedented.
was the
for him.
fastest player in the game.
Yeah, but also he was 99 speed, and then there were like 3 other people that in the game that were even in the 90s.
And
Like,
that was
nobody was that fast.
The time in Madden when you could just beat. This is what I would. The only time I ever beat my brother in Madden was in Madden 04, and we played from like 98 to like 07 or whatever. You put Michael Vick in as punt returner. You put Michael.
Oh yeah. Anytime the ball is put in somebody's hand, it's Michael Vick's hand.
Yeah, you're like
and
Michael
you're
Vick's
probably getting a
strong
touchdown.
safety. Yeah, Michael Vick knows how to play D. He can read a scheme.
Oh, back when you could put offensive players and defensive players on
they wouldn't get like a, because now you get like a minus to their stats. Like even if you're playing like a fullback in the halfback position, it'll be a little bit lower.
Yeah.
But no, back then he was statistically, other than like the line, he was like the best player at every position.
At every position, yeah.
because
you're just moving around,
incredibly fast. It's insane. And my brother punched me in the face one time while my family had friends over upstairs, so I was like bleeding. It was crazy. But then I ended up like 10 years later punching him in the face over a game of Dungeons and Dragons, which is even a more insane thing to punch someone in the face over.
I mean, unless that like.
Well, we were having we ordered
Dungeons and Dragons is a like that's like you're really invested in the fantasy side of it. So like unless your fucking character that you were playing was just a very, very aggressive tank troll or whatever.
How long had that been? Also, how many like weeks or years or months had that game been going on? Because Dungeons and Dragons, the development that sometimes those groups get together for months and years playing one. What do they call it?
Session campaign.
Campaign, yes, playing a campaign.
But this was a pirate. We were on a pirate ship at sea for many weeks. Like so, even in the game, our players were kind of like starting to think about eating each other and stuff like that. But really, I would get too drunk. I was playing a barbarian, and that would get seasick, so we would have to drink all the time so that he wouldn't throw up. So I would just be drinking constantly to role play my character. And
so you were just shit-faced every time
food.
you played.
Yeah, we ordered food, and my brother threw an empty bag at me. And I said, if you throw anything else at me, I'm going to get up and I'll punch you in the face. And then he just sort of slow motion picked something up, an empty bag, and just like tossed it. And I stood up, and he didn't move at all. And I just punched him in the face. And then it was, I think I chipped his tooth, and I feel really bad about it. I was like 18, and then I like cried afterwards. I was like, you're drunk, and you're like, yeah, it was pretty embarrassing.
The most blackout drunk I ever got was playing Dungeons and Dragons, and it was for the same reason, because we were digging into the characters, and all of us were drinking absinthe and mead that night, and I got fucking hammered, dude.
Do you remember what your character was?
Most blackout drunk I ever. No, I don't remember.
That's awesome. I remember. Like I created a life, and I gave it like a name, and I just got too drunk and I forgot about it.
Pretty much.
Yeah, well, so when I first started taking Adderall was my friend's my friend's dad was a private investigator in high school.
Okay.
And he had according to my friend, I never saw it, he had, a chest of pill bottles, including one I didn't know pill bottles came in this size. He apparently had one gigantic one, and they just all had Adderall and everything, like stimulants. He's a private investigator.
He's just jacked up all the time.
He's got to stay up all the time.
Yeah, which is a crazy thing. He's like a small, it's a crazy thing. You can just get licensed and just do it. He wasn't part of an organization. Like that's just how he bought a house and supported his kids.
Yeah,
it was like finding out people were cheating on insurance or cheating on their wife or whatever. So my friend would take them, and I started taking them, and I was playing. I mean, you just start taking them for stupid reasons, whatever. I remember one of the first times we took them, he convinced me to steal a bunch of weed from this drug dealer that we knew, and the plan was we went to this
always a good plan.
We went to the Price Chopper parking lot, and he said, here's what's gonna happen. You're gonna get in the front seat. He's gonna get in the front seat when I come in. You're gonna get in the back seat. You're gonna have a backpack that's supposed to have the money in it. And then he's gonna give me the weed, I'll give it to you, you put it in the backpack, you get out of the car and run, and I'll be like, oh, he took my money too. And then I was like, where am I gonna run to? And we spotted out this area in the woods to run through or whatever. And so I'm on Adderall or whatever. I'm 18.
So he's like, no, here's the plan. I'm gonna make him think we both want to kill you.
Yeah.
And that'll help you get away. Yeah. What? That's an awful fucking plan.
That's a terrible plan.
He's like, you'll steal stuff, and then I'll throw you under the bus.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doesn't that sound like fun?
In my brain, I think I was thinking almost that he's dumb, because if they have him, dude, they might just stab you while you're here.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Also, definitely wasn't thinking. I think I was drinking heavily at the time. I probably was messing around with other stuff.
You were also 18.
Really stupid. And I was so stupid at 18. So he pulls in, and we kind of do it, or like he gets in the car. It kind of all works out the way he says it's gonna work out. The backpack's on my feet, and I'm on Adderall, so I just like my head is beating through. My heart is beating through my head.
Yeah,
this is not like
absolutely.
an activity that I've ever done before. I got robbed of weed once, like an eighth of weed. You go to buy it off a kid, and they just take your money and never come back. And that is the closest I had ever gotten to like this type of. And it does fuck with robbing is fucked up, especially to be on the other side of it when you're not like a career klepto or whatever.
You're young and that's like that's a foreign idea and there's so many questions.
As a kid, the stimulants definitely were playing a role in like.
And they tend to do that. They'll make you more brazen.
So I get out, I open the door, and I start sprinting into the woods. And I'm not in great shape or whatever, but my adrenaline's fucking through the roof. And I get down this little hill into like the woods. It's starting to get dark, and a fucking 10 yards in, like 30 feet in, fence in the woods that we didn't see. Just
straight into a fence.
Oh, Looney Tunes style, fucking Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote.
So your boy just not very athletic, but you're jazzed. So he just gets his center ass above the top of the fence, just with enough momentum to just do the sloppiest over, cut myself or whatever. You're not terrible. But, the type of when you got to get over a fence right away. You can get over the fence, but I'm lucky I didn't break something. Roll and just start running. And this is like a mile from my house.
I see you hitting the fence and then going like
crazy
head first down, and then the legs kind of come down, and then you land, and you're like, "Oh shit, I'm alive!"
Yeah,
and then you start running.
I did it.
Yeah.
Crack back.
And I've come into an apartment complex that's kind of near my house, and I'm fucking freaking out. So I'm hiding like outside an apartment complex. And I think I got like a text from him that said like he's trying to look for you or whatever. He's driving around. So I end up like ringing the apartment complex. And again, I'm like fucking on like 60 milligrams of Adderall or whatever, like, a lot. And ringing it, and a guy answers, and I say that my phone died. But I'm like, so he eventually comes to the door, and I'm like probably cut, bleeding a little bit, and like out of breath with this backpack that smells like weed 100%.
Yeah, because there's stolen weed in it, which smells stronger.
And I just...
stolen weed definitely smells stronger than regular weed. It's the crime. It helps it.
This guy lets me go in his house to use his phone. And I was just trying to be in this guy's apartment for as long as possible, just to be like, now there's no way, even if he finds the right parking lot in this shit, he can't find me in here. Gives me a cup of water, and then I just kind of make some shit up, and I was like, all right, I guess I'll just like, I'll be okay. And then I kind of want to try to stay in his building, but he like wasn't letting me. He's obviously wants to see that I'm leaving the building before he lets this crazy person. So there's like a huge weird moment where I kept being like, "All right, goodbye." Like, yeah, goodbye. I didn't remember what the guy looked like. I remember having an accent for some reason. He's probably Brazilian and probably only spoke Portuguese. Now I'm thinking about it, because that was like the whole neighborhood that I lived in. And
so you're like this. You in your mind, a whole conversation happened, and it was just him going,
"Oh, that's my friend. Yeah, this is my friend. Yeah, it's just they're friendly. Yeah, yeah,
they're friendly." He didn't understand a fucking word of it. Like, you didn't seem weird. He was just like, "Fucking America, am I right?
Yeah.
These people are crazy."
And then I eventually got out. I met up with my friend, and then I just and it ended up being like a quarter pound of weed. It wasn't even a pound of weed. Like, and my friend said that when he like saw the weed, he knew that we had been ripped up. If we had paid for this, it would have been a rip off anyway. So he knew we were gonna do. This kid had already played 4D chess with us. He was like, all right, worst case. It was pretty smart mathematically. This kid, he probably went on to do something good in business, because he was like, I'll take the risk. He literally did a risk assessment. It was like, oh, if they're gonna rob weed, I'll let them rob a quarter pound of weed. And if they're dumb enough to buy weed off a guy that knows you're gonna rob them, then I'll just sell them fucking not enough weed. You know what I mean? He was gonna rip us
and
off.
Also like, you're never getting weed from me again. So that's
And I had anxiety about it for years. Like, this kid, I remember he just Facebook messaged me. I didn't have anxiety because of this. Like, I didn't think he was actually going to shoot me, but I remember he just Facebook messaged me, bang, bang. He was trying to be like, a gangster. We went to high school with him, so I wasn't. Yeah. I mean, his dad, he didn't have a dad and shit, so I knew he was kind of crazy. I'm just saying, he's a drug dealer. I'd seen like fist fight people before. One time, I think actually, maybe before this happened or after this happened, the same friend who set me up or whatever, not that did the robbery with me.
But kind of that set you up. If we're being honest, a little bit the friend that
but
set
I have
you up,
agency.
for sure.
I was a grown man. I could have fought for my country. You know what I mean? I can decide, what job. I was, working at a Radio Shack or whatever at the time. I could have. But anyway, I think it was the same kid, found out that kid had slept with his ex or something. And so he did this thing where he said, "You want to smoke a joint?" And then they met up to smoke a joint because they thought they were cool with each other. And then he said, "Oh, let's keep going in the woods." Like I saw a cop drive by, and he's like, "Let's keep going in the woods." And then the kid went to take a drag of the joint. My friend walked behind him and just sucker punched him in the side of the head, right. And then just fucking walked out of the woods and got in his car and drove home, which is like so wild. Some of the people I was hanging out with just being like, "That is crazy." Like this kid had like a level of, and it's even crazier. And I speak so stupid.
It's almost.
I slept with that girl after I heard this story.
You were like, "No, this sounds like fun."
that must be some good coochie, dude.
Was it? Was it worth getting sucker punched in the back of the head for?
It was outside in an abandoned farmfarmhouse on like the side of like a nice like pathway you can walk in my town. So yeah,
you didn't answer
that sounds magical.
Yeah, it was nice.
The experience was nice.
We had like rip.
That's not what we were talking about.
She knew how to set a scene, but
yeah.
Did she know how to?
Gorilla grip. That's what we're asking about.
She knew how to throw it. Yeah, she knew how to throw it back. Yeah, she
threw it back. Okay.
Yeah.
It is. You could definitely argue it is more insane to take somebody out into the woods to punch them.
Yeah.
Well, he had a big.
If you take somebody out in the woods and shoot them, it's like, all right,
that made sense.
Yeah.
But like, I'm gonna take you out where nobody can find you, and then just punch you and run away.
Yeah. Well,
that's fully nuts.
I think where I'm from is like,
sorry,
it's just weird sense of like, I think he's trying to teach him some kind of lesson. This kid, you know what I mean? He's just a big like, because I remember when I slept with that girl, he said, "All right, if you come to my house tonight and let me punch you in the face once, I won't be mad at you anymore. But if you," and he's like, this is what he said to me. He's like, "If you don't come tonight, then it's on site, like a real fight when I see you." And I said, I was literally just like a video game. I was like, I'm taking option B. I'm not coming to your house and letting you punch, because one square punch to the face, that's a guarantee. In a fight with you,
I'm not giving you a clean punch like that.
Yeah, I mean, it could kill me. At least in a fight, I'm like jacked up. My adrenaline's going.
Yeah, but also
I have a puncher's chance.
If I see you, I could just leave.
Yeah, exactly.
Also,
exactly. Yeah. I can. That is something that might not ever occur, and it never did to this point. He might see this podcast and be like, "That motherfucker, I'm tracking him down."
Damn it. He left.
But for a long time, living in my hometown for years, I mean, having a few enemies like this, where it was like on site, they'd beat your ass. I mean, dude, to a guy like me, that type of anxiety was fucking. With taking stimulants and shit, it's just oppressive. Oppressive.
So you were just in a like several year long panic attack.
Yeah.
Like just nonstop. Like there was never a break.
I would go to gas stations and I'd look through the window and I'd be like, "That's him. He works at the gas station now." And it wasn't ever him. And I'd have the same thing with like their cars and stuff. Like Volvos to this day.
How big?
Volvo.
How big of a town was it that you all lived in?
It's like a commuter city, so it's kind of big, but definitely. But yeah, if I was hanging out with the crowd from my high school, which to a large degree I wasn't, which this probably played a role in, as well as just being a weirdo in general. It would have been super common to run into them, I'm sure, at some point. But I just was like.
You were like, new friends.
Yeah,
it's fine.
New friends. I had hobbies and communities, like playing Smash Brothers for a while, then being in bands and shit like that. So I just totally.
That's the other thing too. It's not like you were playing video games.
We've come full circle to the truth. He's like, okay, the real reason I got good at Smash Brothers is because I couldn't leave the house for 4 years.
Yeah.
But I got so fucking good at it.
Yeah. Yeah, just a weird thing to look back on because it really dominates. You know what I mean? Just like the fear of getting the absolute dog shit kicked out of you is real.
And
palpable
also,
fear.
once you had two of them, it was like, what if I run into both of these motherfuckers
at the same time?
And they're like, "Oh, you want me to hold them?
Yeah. What if
and
they
then
made
you can hold them for me?
That's not good.
Yeah. And like the kid that I was friends with, I think he went on to have like cancer or kidney failure or something. So, I think I believe, and I can't believe I forgot if this happened or not. I believe we had some type of conversation on a social media platform that was like, "Yeah, of course, no hard feelings. I hope you don't die." I think this happened.
I'm pretty sure. I've convinced myself.
I think we're good. The other kid, the one I robbed from, there's never been a resolution. And Sometimes I think if I ran into him 15, like let's say I become a famous comedian, this podcast blows up, I get a draw, I'm selling 80 tickets at the Brea Improv in California, and this guy just happens to live down the street.
One of them.
Do you think he would show up 15 years later about his quarter pound of weed? Because some people, it's just the principle of the matter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He might show up and heckle you at least.
Yeah. Dude, I would be so scared if I saw him. I'd piss my pants.
On stage?
If
You make that part of your act.
If I saw him on stage, I think I would feel some type of power or whatever. But if he just walked up to me, like, with any type of aggressive tone off stage, I'd be like, I'm so sorry.
You know we have to find this guy.
He might be dead.
The first time,
for a reward?
The first time that Paul sells out the Brea Improv, we got to bring him.
He might be dead.
Is that what you're counting on?
Most
people, really,
sounds like it.
You're really
if you're
putting all the
by
eggs
me,
in the he's dead
Are you
basket?
checking the obituary often?
If
like
you're
weekly
outsmarted
or...
by me, if you're outsmarted by me at 18 years old, man, then your life is gonna be a little bit too much of complex for you to figure out at a certain point. You know what I mean? If I'm
Here's the thing. At the beginning of the story,
whenever
you
Gabe
were like,
says, "Here's the
you're
thing,"
like, this guy is a genius. He probably went on to be a CEO of a company, and now you're like, I bet he's dead.
Well, he had
stupid.
like painkillers.
And I don't know who you're trying to convince.
I don't think he was a stupid guy. If you hear this, but I do think
He
he has
listens.
addiction to.
why do you think we got you on the podcast so you could fucking atone for your sins?
He's been hitting us up like every week.
Painkillers, you know, that's.
I know you guys know Paul.
We're recording,
Get
right?
him on here.
We got all this? Okay, good.
I went to a
we're recording?
vocational school, so everyone I went to school with just drops like flies to opiates. You know, like 3 a year, 4 a year. You know what I mean?
In New England?
Yeah, dude. Because vocational school is like HVAC guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where the most of the
And you can't do that for that long. You do that.
Epidemic
You do
was
that from
in New England. That was
19.
the joke.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Well, Florida's pretty bad too. Just so you know.
Yeah, but yes, Florida, like as a single location, is the worst. But that's
Yeah.
just because anybody could go down to Florida and be like, "Hey, can I get a bag of pills?" And the doctor would be like, "This bag or this one?"
Yeah. I don't even know why it's so bad in Massachusetts. I think the winter just hurts like your bones.
Your soul.
Yeah,
your
absolutely, yes.
Like just physical pain. That's how a lot of the addictions probably started. Just like, yeah, I had to shovel. Larry Bird famously threw out his back shoveling the driveway for his mother. And that's why his career was cut short, because he refused to pay someone to shovel his grandmother or his mother's driveway. And Larry Bird
doing
fucked his back up.
doing anything in that level of cold, like it's worse on all of
It's
your
terrible
joints, and
for
you're
your
like,
body.
legitimately, it's not good. Like,
Yeah, your organs.
yeah,
your
you're
bones.
wearing shit out quicker under those. Yeah, look at a car that lives in any of those temperatures for a decade.
They're
it's
all
fucking,
rusted out.
Yeah,
and
it's
stuff
falling
from
apart.
Salt on the road.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You guys
Same with your
ever
bones. Your bones are rusting out.
Have you ever robbed or been robbed in a situation like that? 'Cause that's my only experience in like a. I mean, dude, I felt like when I play Red Dead Redemption 2 now, some of the missions give me the same rush where I'm like, oh my god,
This is happening for real.
These motherfuckers are. I'm either hunting them down or he's hunting me down. There's no other option right
It's
now.
the big heist.
It's prey or predator. Yeah, you know what I mean. Have you guys ever had someone? Everyone seems to have.
I have both robbed and been robbed many a time.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, I need to hear some robbery stories.
Yeah,
I'll tell you about my robbery stories off camera.
Okay, that's fair.
At least 2 of them I'll tell you about off camera.
Yeah,
Okay.
So
Patreon.
No.
I was
To turn off the cell phones and we'll go stand outside and talk
correct.
for a little
Yeah,
bit.
we'll
Stories.
leave everything in here. No electronics. Yeah, I was deeply addicted to just straight up crystal meth for about 3 or 4 years.
Whoa.
It was around the time that my mom died. It was just not like, just in general, my life was fucked. So, and I had a buddy who he was always fucked up on something, but it was like, he was that guy who typically was like, he's doing this for a couple weeks and then he does this other thing. You know what I'm saying? It was like, he was never really addicted to anything. He would just party. And so like, if somebody had something, he would be like, yeah, I'll do some Molly. I'll do a line of Coke. But he was never like, I've got, you know what I'm saying, cocaine all the time. You know what I'm saying? He didn't typically like build up a issue. But one of my friends introduced me to meth. And then he ended up coming around one time when we were smoking, and also smoking meth is like, other than shooting it, it's the most addictive form. It's very not good. So he ended up coming around one time, and he was like, fuck it, I'll try it. And that was the one thing same thing. It hooked him. So that like the three of us ended up being pretty fucking bad off for a long time. And one of those guys never ended up coming back, unfortunately.
And at the time, what was the career situation? What was your living situation? This is 3 or 4 year period?
So this was during like a couple years of the 3.5 year span. I was also selling everything, rolls and fucking Adderall pills and fucking Lortabs and Xanax and everything, and honestly living mostly in just like hotels.
Whoa!
Like we would rent out like a block of hotel rooms and then just throw massive parties, sell shitloads of drugs, and then we would just keep one of the hotel rooms as like the room that we crashed in. But I pretty much lived in a hotel for a couple of those years. And like
comedian,
I would,
like a road dog.
Correct. Yeah. Very much like a road dog. And yeah, same level of consumption as a road dog typically would. And it was a situation where like I would show up at home every once in a while and like get some food and crash there for a couple of days and then get kicked out and go, and then I'd be gone for months again. So like I never had a permanent place, but like I could, like I had friends that I could crash on their couch, and again like once every 6 months or so I could show up back at home and they'd tolerate me for a few days and then I would leave. But and we were renting cars. We were very fucking paranoid, which makes sense given the absolute cocktail of drugs we were consuming.
Yeah.
Because I was doing all of the things that I was
Even
selling.
if you were sober, I mean, what you were doing should induce some paranoia in general.
For sure, yeah,
It's
absolutely.
the Goodfellas thing where you're like, I think the helicopter's following me. It's like, oh shit, the helicopter
it is.
is
It
following
definitely
me.
is following. Yeah, for sure. So we just rented cars constantly, and like we would go to different like types of car rental places, and like we would go to dealerships sometimes and get like a. Like it was a pretty common thing that you could get like a week-long like loaner car, like extended test drive or whatever like that if you were good at talking. So like we would do shit like that and stuff. So it was just like vehicles that weren't traceable to us is what we drove around. And I had a car, but I don't think I drove it really ever. Like it's sad. It was just like an old Honda Accord that was like there if I absolutely needed it, but I didn't. Anytime I was using drugs or selling drugs, I would always have a rental car.
Yeah.
But there was a point where like it shifted where like I was doing more drugs than I was selling. And like the last year of it was like I was just a fucking junkie. You know what I'm saying? Like it just started with me selling drugs, and then I got hooked on shit. And some of it was just practical. Like if you're selling meth, you got to be up when meth heads are up. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just built in. And eventually you're like, well, I gotta fucking, I'll pop a couple of these Adderall, you know what I'm saying? Stay up till 7 a.m. for whatever. And then, eventually you say no to enough lines and then you're like, oh, fucking.
I've heard about that weed trimmers. Like they will get addicted to smoking meth because you can just do it for like 36 hours. So like instead of working and waking up, let's just get it all done now.
Yeah, I mean, and weed trimmers, but also just like any kind of black agriculture
market
shit.
Yeah, or especially black market shit,
But
though,
yes.
where your boss isn't going to be mad if you're smoking.
They're like, no, it's fine. Yeah, you can. Yeah.
I'll
Productivity
give
is
it to you.
Try not to get any meth on the weed, but like also.
That's so funny that I was
if it
like,
does, it does. Yeah.
I was like, this is a story of me robbing someone. You guys ever have one? You're like, yeah, I was a career criminal for, I didn't really know that about you.
Yeah.
I feel like it probably has come up, but some stuff.
I don't necessarily talk like I talk about that type of shit on here.
It felt like I was watching an alpha male TikTok, when they break down. It's like, this was my life. Like if you put the black and white and you put that song Sahara behind it, like dong dong.
Yeah,
dong, dong,
we're gonna get clicks. Is that what you're saying?
I mean that's crazy shit. And your voice was deep, and I was like, you were bringing me there. I was mentally there in the motel.
I was
like, holy shit!
mesmerizing you.
I was ready to get back in the game with you right now. I feel like we got to do one last job. I was
all
like,
right.
let's do it, man. I'm desperate.
There's a lot of times we have talks on the podcast, and I feel that way. Yeah.
You did me, on a personal level, you did me a really big favor just now, is that I had the option come across my table where the person I was getting Adderall off was like legit prescription ones. He was like, if you just want to sell to other comics, I can just, and then I was thinking about it, and now I was looking at me, I was like, I'm just going to text him and be like, I'll just send the guys, I was like, there's no way, I'm not touching it.
No, fuck no. Yeah, you don't want, no, exactly. No, absolutely not. If you've had an issue with that, just stay the fuck away. That's the only answer. You just got to get all the way the fuck away.
And also, it's like
there's a reason we're retired career criminals.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's the reason I can have a family and shit now.
Yeah, and my advice to you, the point of the podcast isn't to prop up these fucked up experiences. We like talking about them and they can be relatable to people.
Yeah, some of it's like is exciting and like and I'm like this is kind of fun.
And it is part of who we are, but we don't condone,
I wasn't going to do it.
Yeah, there's a reason we don't do that shit anymore.
That's why we don't participate anymore.
I wasn't going to do it. When you do the math, you're like, I'm going to make fucking $600 off this bottle if I just fucking...
Absolutely.
But it's like, I can't have that on me.
No. I won't sell all of them. I'll never sell all of them.
And also, here's the thing about selling. You're right. I actually am not trying to be... I'm not going to like knock it out of someone's hand if they're doing whatever, but I'm not trying to be the fucking... middleman.
Because then you're associated with it, and then and again, like
it's not good for anybody. Dude.
Yeah, exactly. You're clean. You know what addiction looks like and stuff when it comes to that, and the pain that you feel when you start pushing drugs on people that are addictive. For real, dude. It's you. Yeah. There's
I feel bad
ugly
for the
karma
dealers
that comes with that.
The ones I've been friends with that would sell me their prescriptions, because they probably have some level of feeling about that, but I don't want them to have. I fully am like taking responsibility for my own shit, but I would feel bad if I did too. But just I hope that anyone that ever sold to me doesn't feel like you know what I mean. I came to them looking for it. It's not like
but ultimately, like the best case scenario is there aren't people out there selling that shit. And then it's just not. But
that's
dude,
they
easier said than
prescribe.
done.
I mean, that shit is fucking really bad.
But again, obviously,
really
I did it.
Yeah,
like I sold all this, and we were at one point we met a doctor who was also addicted to meth. And so we were trading him meth for blank scripts.
Whoa.
And then we'd just write ourselves prescriptions for whatever we needed and just go get them at the fucking... So...
It's going down to Randall's, get you...
Yep. So it got to a point where, first of all, the connection that I had kind of dried up. And then also, like... I was a fiend. I wasn't really selling a whole lot of shit. I was getting it to do it.
Yeah.
And then once that, like,
you were just covering your end. You're smoking for free.
Exactly. And
that's how it always starts, though.
Once you get to that point, like, you start losing, like, customers because they're like, you're just a fucking junkie. You know what I'm saying? Like, people don't like,
they don't respect you as a dealer.
Yeah, and then you're scrambling on the other side to find people to sell you shit because they're like, oh, you took like a month to get rid of that shit last time because you have nobody to fucking sell it to. And I know you did most of it and then just like fucking stole the money or whatever you did.
Figure out a way to cover it.
Yeah. And I don't want to keep you on the hook for that, right? So
I know that
you get really fucking creative.
You start running Ponzi schemes, getting fronts from other dealers. That's a fun one.
I'm trying to be out.
You get a front from somebody else to pay back the first person, and then you re-up through them.
Yeah, you get like 3 levels of like, I owe you to owe him. It's like it's just the underground version of fucking credit cards. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's a similar experience.
Do you know how much? First question is, my phone just died because I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
It's
Do
okay.
you have a phone charger by any chance?
What kind?
Just iPhone Lightning.
I do in the car.
Oh, I can plug it in my car. And I was also wondering how much longer you guys...
He's going to tell his story, and I'm going to tell my story.
Cool.
Yeah.
I wanted to text my girlfriend, but now my fucking phone's dead, so I guess it'll be...
You want to take a break from it?
If I just need to text her because I was supposed to meet her at 10.
her?
Yeah, I was supposed to meet her at 10.
Do you remember where you're at in your story, Gabe?
Oh, it's 10.
No, I'm good. Yeah, we're good. I'll just text her after. Sorry.
Okay.
So that part was riveting. We're leaving that in. We're clipping that.
Sorry.
So you get to the point where you just start making weird deals and shit and like trading stuff. But we ended up one night we're just trying to get fucking high and we couldn't find anything and nobody was answering the phone. And then there was this guy who was just notorious he was like, I don't know, he was in his early 50s, but like he lived in his parents' house. His parents were rich. and he was gay, and he would like specifically try to get guys to like let him suck their dick in exchange. You know what I'm saying? Like he would specifically pick out guys who he knew were straight, but were strung out and couldn't get anything, and he would fucking and he was notorious for that in both in like this gay scene in that town, but also in the meth scene. Like everybody knew that this guy was like.
I've lived with a guy like that, but he did it with Suboxone and junkies.
Yeah, exactly. Game, yes. So
and that was the target too, was straight guys.
Yeah, super desperate straight guys. Yep. So we ended up with this guy, but like he was also trying to get shit, and so we were like, all right, you know what I'm saying? Like we're all on the same pathway, and you know he's just trying to whatever. But then he ends up like when we went to show up to the place to get it, he was being real shady, and then like he went on his own and came back out, and then he was like, "Oh, we'll smoke when we get back to the house," and he was just being real weird about the drugs, right? And so we got back to the house, and he was like, "All right, I'll load it up," and he loads up the pipe, and everybody smokes, and then he was like, "All right, I'm gonna put the rest of this away for later," but it's like. It would be like if I packed this bowl halfway and like we all took a hit and I was like, everybody's good? You know what I'm saying? Like if you ever like there's some people who smoke weed like that. They're like, that's all I need, and you're like, well, I don't fucking
yeah, that's what I do most of the time.
I'm not interested in smoking with you anymore, right? So he pulled that, but like that's not a thing you do with hard drugs. You know what I'm saying? It's like we all chipped in for those drugs. If you're keeping them, we're all going to stab you and take those drugs. Like that's how that's going to end. That's the only way that's going to end.
That's not how hard drugs
right?
work.
So he goes into the other room like it, and it was me and my buddy and him and this girl who was fucking just a meth bitch, and she was hideous and skin torn up and fucked up teeth and all that shit, right? And then he closes the door, and I was like, and like my buddy that I was with, like we all knew that he like. Had fucked around with dudes a couple of times in those types of circumstances when he just was like trying to get drugs. And I was like, oh shit, is that what's happening right now? Like, did he just like, but also I knew that the two of them were like messaging and shit. I'm like, did you work out a deal? Like, did you not chip in money? Was your part of it? Like, you're going to go in there and fucking let this dude blow you? And we're sitting there. And the chick sits down on the bed, and she was like, why don't we do what they're doing? And I was like, oh, fuck, confirmation. But also, no, I'm not doing anything with you.
Yeah.
And she was like, all right, well, I got a little bit of something. And she like breaks out a couple lines. And I picked up the plate and fucking did both of them. And then I went and sat in the corner and waited. And like she got super upset, obviously, because I had done all the drugs, but also because she was like, that's not what the arrangement was. And I was like, I don't give a fuck what the arrangement was. I'm not a part of it. I'm not fucking anybody. That's not what's happening in this situation. I'm doing my drugs and I'm getting the fuck out of here. But also we had driven there in the dude's car. So I just had to wait while they did whatever the fuck they were doing in there for like 15 or 20 minutes. And then he comes out and we ended up smoking some more. Like after they came out of the room, he was super generous. The guy whose house we were at, and he was just like, "Oh, everybody," you know what I'm saying? Everybody's getting fucked up, right? And then he finally took us back to our car, and we left. And this guy that I was with was a notorious mooch. You know what I'm saying? Like, and like always, our entire lives, but also one of those people who like his parents had money, so it was like, it's not even like if you paid for shit, you're not even paying for it, but you're still being a fucking piece of shit about it. You know what I'm saying? He's like, oh, you mind covering? Like, he was just that guy all the time. And as we were leaving, he was like, oh, you want to go get some food? And he was like, it's on me. And he started being like super like generous and shit. And he was like, oh, I'll pay for gas, fill up your car and all that shit. He was just being really weird. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? And then when we got home, I called him out on it. I was like, what the fuck? And he was like, well, he gave me a little money. And I was like, what the fuck do you mean a little money? And he had written, the fucking guy had written him a check for $10,000. And I was like, what in the fuck did you guys do in that room? First of all, in 20 minutes, whatever it was you did, kudos.
Yeah, that's a quicker than 10K.
10 grand in 20 minutes. That's insane.
That's
like whatever you did in there is amazing.
Yeah, you're good at what you do, man.
Yeah, clearly. But he would never fucking, he was like, no, we just like talked and hung out, and he just like, he loaned me the money. It was the story he told. And I was like, I don't believe a word you're fucking saying.
That's really dark. I didn't know that your past was that dark.
It is, yeah.
Can I grab my cord out of my
No,
car?
yeah, go for it.
And then I'll come back
Yep.
and plug it in and text her. Because I don't want her to go to the restaurant without me. Then she'll be really mad at me. I'll be right back.
All right.
Plus, I want to check out my car. You have such a nice neighborhood around the studio.
It's very nice.
So like winter 2008, winter 2008, winter 2009. That's not that really important, but dead of winter, January. My buddies and I'm 18 or so, right? Yeah, 18. So 2009. We were doing drugs all the time. At this point, we're still in high school or just getting out of high school, so we're doing like cough medicine a lot. And
that Tussin?
No, we were doing Delsum, and then we would steal boxes of Triple C's.
Oh.
And we would just eat a whole box of Triple C's. So I eat a whole box of Triple C's.
I used to get fucked up on No-Dos.
No-Dos? Oh, we've talked about this before.
That I think I've still got a hole in my brain because of one of my No-Dos experiences.
That's how I feel about Triple C's and Delsum and combining them with 210 milligrams of Adderall that Timmy gave me. And didn't just give me. He gave me 7 30-milligram footballs. He put them in my hand. As soon as they hit the palm of my hand, they hit the back of my throat, and they hit my fucking stomach. It was like one clean motion. And I had just done a box of Triple C's not long before that, right? That still hadn't hit yet, the Triple C's. So I've just ingested this ungodly amount of cough syrup. Because you don't just eat a sleeve, you eat the whole box of Triple C's. And then I've just eaten like 3 days, a 4-day binge worth of Adderall.
Yeah, you're not trying to get rid of a cold. You're trying to get fucked up.
Yeah.
It's a very different approach.
Adderall does help get rid of when you feel sick. It's a nice pep up.
It was winter. Yeah. I needed cough syrup and amphetamines. That's how you. If people did that during the pandemic, I think we could have beat the vid a lot faster.
That's fair. Yeah,
little Triple C Adderall cocktail.
But we ran out of Adderall instead.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why it spread.
A lack of Adderall.
Lack of Adderall.
I like this. I like where you're going with this.
I have philosophies.
Nobody's taken this angle yet, and I like it.
It's all about the angles, buddy. We know that. So I'm caught in this like 3-day binge with my buddy. This is over the weekend. This is started on like Friday night. So we're up all weekend, my buddy Timmy and I. And we remember that our friends Kevin and Shane are out of town. Their parents are out of town. And we know how to sneak into their house because we used to always stay the night over there. We'd always sneak out at night, and we knew the way to sneak in. You know, there was this screen door or screen window on the back of the house, like by the kitchen. And Timmy was small enough that I could fucking put him through the window, and he could go around and unlock the door.
Yeah. I had a similar thing at my house, but it was to get out. I had a kitchen window that I knew I could get out of, and it was like the only thing that was quiet enough that I could escape in the middle of the night to go do my debauchery, and then I could usually get back in it.
Yeah, that makes more sense. I just went out my window in my room. I could just sneak out my window in my room. Sometimes I would just walk out the house because it got to a certain point where my grandfather was so dementia-ridden and my dad was so drunk that I could just free roam and do whatever the fuck that I wanted. Nobody really cared. You know, they were dealing with their own demons. There was no time to raise me.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Timmy and I walk over because they live in the neighborhood too. So we go over to their house and we break in and we go for their parents' room. We're going for mom's jewelry, stuff like that. And we're sifting through the closet and looking, and we didn't know that Kevin and Shane's parents sold cocaine.
Oh, shit.
Not until we found like a 1/4 ounce of it in this big ball. And we're like 18 years old, dude. I mean,
that's
a 1/4 ounce
so
cocaine,
much
right?
cocaine
That's
to find.
too much cocaine to find.
Oh, my God. That's amazing.
It was great. So now we're doing coke. I'm already on Adderall. I've been eating Triple C's. It becomes a coke weekend. And this is probably Saturday night. So I was already up all night Friday night tripping balls. Because once the triple C's hit, I was tripping on triple C's, but I had enough Adderall that I could still walk. I was still alive.
Anytime you do a drug that can counteract the other drug that you're on, that is a recipe for chaos. It's the same thing when you drink a lot when you're on cocaine. Because you're like, I'm not going to feel it. But then when you do, when the thing that's holding it back wears off,
that's the worst.
You feel it on a level that you've never felt it before. It's insane.
Dude, I had that happen to me. Quick sidebar. I had that happen to me one time in Austin doing coke and doing ketamine. And they call it Calvin Kleining. And I don't really have many experiences with ketamine, but we're doing coke and the K is getting put out periodically too. And this is kind of a diversionary tactic by the dealer who's sharing his coke to get people to slow down. You know what I mean? Like, I'll mix some ketamine in there every once in a while. That'll slow them down. But instead, what happened is all the ketamine that I did throughout the night never hit me until the coke wore off. And then
that's way more intense than getting all of the drunk.
Yeah.
Getting all of the ketamine?
Well, because all of the ketamine is all of the drunk on steroids, basically. Yeah. You're just the drunkest that you've ever been, like falling down the...
Yeah, your bones are drunk. It's a very different thing.
That's a different story for a different day. Statute of limitations and all.
Wednesday is the statute, so...
But so Sunday rolls back around. I'm still rolling nuts off of the Adderall. I took 210 milligrams, and they're the 30 milligram football's time release. So and we're probably also, because everyone in his family, both of his brothers had prescriptions too. So we were probably snorting Adderall with them throughout. We've been doing coke too. We found this coke like. So Sunday rolls around. Sunday night. I shouldn't remember this, but I do. So Sunday night rolls around. My favorite thing to do when I was on Adderall was drawing. I used to love to draw. I'm up all night drawing, and we had shoplifted, at some point during our shit, and I had 2 bottles of Delsum, and I drank these 2 bottles of Delsum, and I'm up all night drawing, and the Delsum never really hit me until Monday morning when it was time to go to school.
Oh no.
When I took a shower. It was I took a shower. The hot shower first pulled all the cough medicine that I've been doing all weekend out of me, and then riding to school. There's something about cough medicine and sitting still but you're moving. You know what I mean? Like riding in an Uber, riding in a car, riding on a bus.
It feels like what's it called?
Like hyperspace?
Yeah, but fuck, what do you call it when you have, it's not hyper trails, but when you're, is that what it is? Hyper trail? Like when your vision gets to the point where movement is stuttery and blurry. It's like that, but in reverse. It's like you're up there and you're constantly just catching up with yourself. It's a very, very weird thing.
It's like the map is rendering in front of you, like Grand Theft Auto Vice City, the original one. You've gone too far. Now we have to load the map.
Yeah, it's fucking weird.
Kind of that sensation. So when I got out the car at the school, that's when it really fucking hit me, dude. Like wobble legs, like robo tripping. You feel like you're walking in quicksand or fucking like you're walking in the ocean or something. You feel like you're walking in water shin deep. And I'm in possession of just under a quarter ounce of cocaine. And now I'm at school, and I'm probably the most fucked up that I have ever been in my entire life. It's probably still to this day. And so fucked up that when I go into the commons area in the morning and go to hang out at the circle where all my friends hang out, all my friends look at me like I'm... You know when a diseased animal comes back to the pack and then they all kind of abandon it because they don't want to get diseased either? That was how they treated me. Because all my friends were fuck-ups and misfits too. They used to stay up all night.
But they were you can tell he's fucked up.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't want them to find the vodka in my Dasani bottle because of whatever you've done to yourself, Scott. And there was only 1 or 2 of us that did cough syrup in the friend group, and pretty much everybody else was kind of they weren't supportive of that. You know what I mean? It was something that they didn't like seeing their friends do to themselves because it just completely
from the outside. It is a very scary thing because it like you can't tell if the person is okay. Like, did you hit your head?
You're like green and stuff too. You're real pale. And I've been up for fucking all weekend on Adderall, not eating, just consuming, you know, cocaine and fucking cough syrup and Adderall and drawing pictures and not eating and not sleeping. I probably look like goddamn Nosferatu at this point. My friends do not want to be around me. I go to first period and we have a substitute teacher. And it's one of those days where it's a pull in the projector day and we're doing stuff. So it was the dim lights in the room start fucking me up. And I'm mind you, it's the dead of winter and I'm wearing shorts and a hoodie and I am pouring fucking sweat, dude. I am pouring fucking sweat. My pupils
like it's making noise when it drips. There's so much coming off of you.
And the substitute teacher is noticing this and I'm fucked up tripping and I start thinking because she's like doing the projector presentation, she's got like the light behind her and stuff. She looks like an angel or something. She looks like this divine creature. And I'm fucked up thinking like, I'm thinking of like this is my guardian angel, like she's sent here to protect me or something. Like I'm whacked out, wigged out. And I remember her singling me out in class a couple times because I just kept putting my head down. And she was one of those substitutes that wasn't gonna let me fucking get away with being a bad student that day. You know? You know how when a substitute comes in, they're like, I'm gonna make these kids love
I'm putting
learning.
the hammer down.
So anyway. And also, at one point, this is when I've really got the paranoia. Like, really, I'm already paranoid and just not doing well at all. And then I remember that the school resource officer walked by the room at one point when I'm in first period and feeling this way. And that is when I got like the super paranoia. Because I just felt like they're looking for me. I'm fucked up. I'm acting weird. I'm weird. My pupils are touching my eyeballs. I'm pouring sweat. And I have like 5.5 grams of Coke in my fucking
and they
backpack.
know that too.
Right. And they know it. They know it.
They certainly know it.
Like they know that their house got broke into. Right. like they're coming for me. Oh man. But I made it. I did make it. I didn't get arrested that day.
That day.
So that day. Between first and second period, when everybody's changing classes, I fucking made the beeline that we all knew to take to go skip class. And I honestly think that they chose not to catch me that day. Because there's other times they caught me skipping class. But I think this was a day that they were like, no, let Scott skip. You know,
we don't want you here.
We don't want
You're not here anyway.
And
so
we don't want to arrest you for being fucked up at school.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, I ended up getting away.
Okay.
I shouldn't have.
So I'm supposed to.
Kevin and Shane did find out though that later on, like a couple months went by, and they found out that we stole the Coke from their parents. But it was never anything that they could really do anything about because like it's like they're not supposed to know.
Yeah, that's multiple levels of like you can't say anything.
Yeah, I'm like, yes.
Even if you know.
It's omerta.
We all know you can't do anything.
It's omerta. But yeah, we're not friends anymore.
So I'm supposed to pick.
I wasn't going to tell that story, and then you fucking, you mentioned the robbery, and I'm like, well, I do have one.
Okay, so I'm supposed to pick.
You're supposed to determine who was telling the truth and who was lying.
And now, can parts of the story be true?
One of us is lying and one of us is
sure.
telling.
It feels like I feel
the person who's lying. Yeah, there may be some elements of the story.
I feel like the obvious pick would be the more dramatic story, but because of that, it makes me want to go the other way. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna pick. That you're lying.
You think I'm lying?
Just because that is such a wild story. No, it can't be. I'm high as shit.
Yeah, that's the game.
There we go.
You were lying. And that's my final answer.
He had like a real like diatribe for you, and then it was like, you fucking liar to me. That was very different. That was a very different energy.
Also, people always come on the podcast and like, I'm high, and then they're like, you fucking liar. They get so liar. Yeah. And it always feels like it's not about the story. It always just feels like a general synopsis.
It's just too crazy.
As a statement,
that's
you
your
are
character.
It was just too crazy. So yeah, I'm gonna go with him.
He accused you. Do you want to tell him?
Yeah, I was telling the truth.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a very true story. Start to finish.
Well, that's you. You told it like a true story as well.
Thank you.
You really made me, because I was like, I was ready to not believe your story, and then I was like, he seems like there's too many details to it and stuff. Well, that was a really good story that you told, and that was a really good lie that you told.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for having me on.
Thank you for being here.
Sorry, Mike, that I have to
it's okay.
Have a girlfriend.
Sorry.
Yeah,
we
I'm
know
gonna call her, apologize, but I'm happy we did this. Very, just at real Paul Cyphers on Instagram, and come see me do stand up anywhere I'm doing stand up. That's all I care about.
Fuck yeah.
Cool, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you. This is a blast. Yeah, thank you for being here.
Bye, Paul.
Thank you, guys.